I'm so excited to say that I actually am going to be interviewing. Hold on really, really quickly, guys. I'm a little parched. Thank you. As I was saying, ladies, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. You know, we all need to get our little, so that we can have our Jeffros bring us our drinks when we're a little parched. But anyway, enough of that. So today I decided to speak with Aminra Farrah, who happens to be a gang activist. He's an amazing young man who started this whole movement in New York City of bringing the Bloods and the Crips together. And I had the honor of interviewing him. So very shortly, you will see the clip of he and I discussing how he came up with this movement, the life-changing events that occurred that made him want to start this movement and reach out to the youth and to the community. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy this interview. And once again, I'm excited, and I thank you so much, Aminra Farrah, for joining me.
Okay, my name is Aminra Farrah, and that name means, Aminra means the sun god, which comes from Egypt, but it actually comes from Kemet. Everybody knows it as Egypt, but it actually comes from Kemet. That was the original name of Kemet. And Farrah means notable.
Okay. Because you know that's funny, because that was going to be my second question. How did you actually come up with that name? Is it just, does it stand for what it is that you're doing? Is it everything that you would say represents exactly what you're doing, or is it something that
Well, being the fact that I studied Kemetic information, Kemetic history and stuff, it was actually my big homie that gave me this name, because I studied Kemetic history. And he basically said, with what you're doing, you bring in light to the world. So, it's like you are the chosen one. You are the chosen son to be able to bring light into the dark atmospheres. So I feel like your name should be Aminra. So I basically decided to take up that name, Aminra. And I removed the U because it's spelled A-M-U-N. But I put A-M-I because it's I that's basically representing the name.
And it's funny that you said that, because when I had you saved in my phone, I had you at first. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I may have gotten it spelled wrong. And then I went back and changed it to I. Because I did see, did you use you at one point in time?
At one point in time.
Okay. Oh, because I'm like, I know I wasn't tripping. I know I've seen the you before. So I went ahead and fixed it. My next question to you is, are you currently in a gang, right now?
Yes, I'm still active in the game. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Going on 17 years.
Okay, so what set are you with, if you don't mind me asking? Is it Crips, Blood?
I'm in the Crips. Rolling 30 Mafia Crips.
Wow. That's just so, it's just so amazing to me. And the reason why I say that is because of your movement. It has to take a lot of heart to still be an active gang member, but to go out there and to, unite others. And I don't know if I would be using the right words, but would the word ops be something safe to use?
Right.
I mean, how do you do it? The courage, how do you do it? How?
I mean, for me, first of all, so many people tell me you're very intelligent, you're very smart, you're very informed in various different areas. So why do you choose to still be in the game? And I tell them, because for one, this is not a gang. This is more of an organization. Just down the line, it got changed into a gang. You see, when the Crips came out, the Crips was made to protect the communities from other gangs that were trying to bully the community, protect the community from law enforcement. It was basically to protect anybody that lived in that area within that radius and help with youthful programs and breakfast programs and stuff of that nature. But it wasn't until counterintelligence program, which was done by Edgar J. Hoover from the FBI, he basically went in and had that whole infrastructure dismantled. So when basically, I tell people that I stay a part of the game because of the fact that the only way to be able to relate to the gang member is to be the gang member. It's like when you talking to the people, you got to come as the people. So when you talk to the gang members, you have to come as the gang members. Nobody would really listen to me if they was hear me tell them, you know, I've been gangbanging for almost 16, 17 years, but, you know, I left that life alone. Nobody's not going to hear that because it's like, you're not here anymore. You don't know what's going on. You're not a part. You are past tense. So this is why I stay involved, to basically be that bridge while I'm still involved. And as far as having the bravery for it, this has been something that I've been wanting to do, like, for the longest. Like, ever since I can say, like, my third or fourth year of gangbanging, it was something that I've been wanting to do. Like, I always spoke about it, coming up inside of middle school, going into high school and stuff. I actually had something like this form in middle school. It was called KBC. It was for the Latin Kings, the Bloods, and the Crips. We all had a unison. So this is something that I've been talking about doing. But, you know, so many people was like, you know, so many people done died, and what makes you think you'll be the one, you'll have the voice to change that or bridge the gap? And I said, nah, I'm just keep doing it. So, you know, yeah, it's like a dangerous kind of thing and a dangerous kind of concept and understanding a dangerous realm. But I just say, yo, you know what, in order for us to basically get our people in line, we got to start with the people that are part of the problem, which is the gamers. We have to take accountability. I know I take accountability for my actions. So, you know, I try to spread that message to everyone else to take accountability for themselves. And for us to understand that we just been misguided and we just got to get back on the correct path.
Right. And the definition of what it was really, what the definition of gang was really supposed to be. Because it was about the community coming together to take care of one another. When it got into the, you know, whole negative aspect of it with the drugs and the violence and things like that, it kind of reminds me of when, you know, the NOI came together. It was to unite us. You understand? Like with Islam, and, you know, show us, you know, you had the 5%ers and stuff, that we are somebody, you know, no matter what, you know, they try to tell us, we do come from something, you know, and we are very intellectual individuals. So I commend you on that. But I do want to ask you, I don't know if you said it already, but was there like a wake-up call for you? Did you have an experience where you said, you know what, I can't do this anymore? Like in terms of where it was something that was negative at one point in your life, on, you know, in that aspect, did you have like a wake-up call where you just was like, nah, this ain't it?
Well, for me, basically, I had several experiences, like, you know, where, you know, I was basically being combative with other gangs, like going against other gangs and being involved in shootouts, knife fights, and just basically all type of destruction, you know? And I always told myself, like, damn, son, like, you know, we all the same people. We all black at the end of the day. Like, so what is it that we doing with another? You know what I'm saying? So I had to go and research that information. And that's what basically brought the awareness to this is what this is not supposed to be about. You see, a lot of people join these gangs and they don't research history. They don't understand why they are what they are, or what it was that came about that made this what it was. And then also when I got incarcerated, that basically, you know, showed me a whole different side as well too, because one thing I understood was you can have peace and respect on the streets, but when you get into the penal system, the incarceration system, things have changed. So when I first got inside in there, you know, I was asked a question. I was asked, you banging? So that means, like, you know, are you in a gang? And I said, yeah, I'm Crip. So, you know, and it's me versus 51 other people. So, you know, having that experience there and fighting with them, going back and forth, and I was just like, nah, man, like, enough of this. Like, this got to change. You know what I'm saying? Because if we trying to stop ourselves from being killed in the street and trying to stop ourselves from basically being in prison and going to war with each other, somebody have to make the sacrifice to say, you know what, I gotta do what I gotta do to bring these games together. Because if we was together on the streets, we could be together inside the prisons, and it would be a whole lot easier for us to stick together as one and operate as one. So, you know, I just have to roll with the punches, man.
So, question, I know that you have been united. When was that established? How and when was that established?
Being United basically established, it basically got established last year, you know what I'm saying? Last year it got established. And it stands for Birthing a New Generation United. So, you know, everybody be like, yeah, you know, I'm thinking. That's what we do.
Yeah.
You know? So I say, you know what? I'm going to choose that name, Bang, and then I'm going to make an acronym out of it. And it was actually me and one of my fellow homies, and we was on Fordham Road inside of the Bronx. And, you know, we were just having to stand up under this store, and we looked up, and it had this red and blue kind of like collision together. It was like the yin and yang kind of like together. And
Mhm.
he was like, yo, like, that's it. This is it right
Mhm.
here. And then he
Mhm.
just came up with the name, you know? And then from there, we just started just putting in the footwork, laying down the blueprint. And then, you know, I reached out to several people. I reached out to my man Pee Wee, my fellow comrade, my brother. And he's the, what's his name, the head leader of the 5-9 Brims. He's actually the starter, the originator. So, and we just started getting to work. We started doing what we had to do.
Wow. Wow. I think that just everything that you're doing is just amazing. And then my next question to you is, when it comes to you trying to bring, I guess you would say, sets together, do you ever feel fearful that you may be kind of like stepping into a zone where people aren't receptive? Like, do you ever?
To feel fearful, I would never say I would feel fearful because I've been game making majority of my life. So I know what that atmosphere is like, you know? And when I'm coming into an atmosphere where I feel like people are not gonna be receptive, I basically I drop information on them by dosages. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll tell them before I even get into the game concept, I'll introduce myself as a black man, as Aminra Farrah, and this is what I'm doing when it comes to helping the youth and us needing to get back into our communities and getting back into our roots. I'll basically, give them that motivational message of being an upright black man or being an upright black woman. And then as they become comfortable with that atmosphere, that's when I introduce them. And doing this is founded on me being a gang member, And the reason why I'm bringing it to y'all because y'all are gang members, and this was our original purpose. So it just takes us to basically get back to that course and fix these situations. So, I don't ever go in with the mindset of being fearful because I feel like if you go in there with the mindset of being fearful, then something is bound to happen because you're inviting fear into your atmosphere. If you're going into the mindset with things being positive and things being, on the right track, then that's the outcome that you're gonna get.
So far, what would you say some of your biggest accomplishments have been? Because I have seen you on the news. I do see that you are good friends with Cardi B. So I did see that. So that's a great thing. But like as far as your accomplishments, what have been some of your biggest accomplishments with this movement?
Well, I could say some of my biggest accomplishments only having this being done on the news, because that was our first actual meeting on the news. When they tried to get us about getting a permit and having the cops there and stuff like that. And I was like, I didn't want no cops there because I wanted them to see that, we can be in one space without it being a problem because other organizations that's there. We can be in one space without it being an issue. So I didn't have the cops there, and I didn't even wait for the permit either. I just went and did it anyway. And just to get them all in that one spot and us able to talk and build and talk with the youth stuff, that was a biggest accomplishment in itself right there. And then I was able to have my man from LA come, my man Big Homie Rum, he was able to come from LA. He's a well-known Paru, so he was able to fly in. And just being able to talk with the youth and talk with the children and just talk with the fellow gamers as well too on themselves and what kind of traumas they went through, because mental health is something that's very a part of our mission. Like, we need to be able to assist our peers and,
that's right,
rewiring their mindsets. So, we just be able to have everybody in the same circumference, in the same atmosphere, being on the same page, doing food drives. That's a big accomplishment within itself, like, So, and Cardi B is somebody I knew way before, she was even in the gang. Like when I was already gang banging, I remember when she first got in the gang. You know what I'm saying? So we had to just doing everything together. So, and that's my sis. Yeah, she does some things that I'm not too fond of, but that's my sis. I just try to advise her whenever I can. But yeah, she's pretty cool, pretty dope person.
Yeah, she definitely seems like she's a very dope person. My next question to you is, have you been able to get rival gang members to unite? Like, have you actually been able to have them close that gap, that separation of where, history, I guess, would make it kind of seem like, okay, Bloods aren't supposed to like Crips, Crips aren't supposed to like Bloods, you on one block, I'm on one block. So have you been able to show them how it's bigger than that? It's more about unity. Have you been able to accomplish that?
Well, I'm gonna start by saying first, the gangs is very, very big. This is a worldwide thing, This is a
Right.
worldwide thing. So this is something that gotta be, like putting a brick by brick, stone by stone. So when it comes to, bridging the gap between the two, yes, I've been able to do it, and I've been able to do it with multiple gangs, but
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that has been basically done worldwide. But I always
Right.
try to remind the people that that when it comes to us uniting, we're not uniting to say we're gonna be in peace and everything is all kumbaya and stuff like that. No, I'm gonna keep
Right.
it real. I'm always keep it real. I always tell them that we have to unite in the name of saving ourselves, saving our children, saving our people, because our people don't have no one to protect them. This is what we
That's
are
right.
supposed to be here for. And who told us that we were supposed to be going to war with another? Because in reality, when it comes to history and paperwork and stuff like that, that's not a true concept. The only reason why we was going to war with each other because the ones that came before us was misguided. And being the fact that throughout history with the counterintelligence program, what J. Edgar Hoover did was he would have somebody go from one neighborhood to another neighborhood and kill somebody and wear the opposite color flag. So now when those people came out, they would see that opposite color. So he basically had infiltrators go and just infiltrate a whole structural organization. So when I remind people of that, I always tell them like, to say that we have beef with another is to really be at an illusionist point because it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Like right here in New York, the Bloods outpopulate the Crips, and
Mm-hmm.
they were here way longer than we was here. And there was
Right.
already other gangs that was here that they was having beef with, as far as Latin Kings go. And that started inside of the prison system on Rikers
Mm-hmm.
Island because the blacks that used to be 5%ers and Muslims and stuff of that nature, they was being oppressed. So they
Mm-hmm.
basically left that, they not really leave it, but they basically just formed up and basically create a power structure, and that was the Bloods. That stands for brotherly love, override, oppression, and destruction.
Mm-hmm.
So their original beef was with the Latin Kings. Crips came over here, and Crips is basically known for, getting money and doing things that Crips do, just staying out the way, being cool, calm, and collected. But then we started basically catching rivalry with them. But it was no real actual reason to why that happened. That's when, at a point it became a numbers game. Who has the most members? That's what it normally came down to. So I always try to remind, no matter what set you are, whether you Crip, Blood, you Latin King, whatever you are, I always try to tell them, like, there was no
Mm-hmm.
actual real reason for us to be rivaling with another. It's
Mm-hmm.
just how it was programmed and embedded into us over the course of time.
Right. So, like my question to you is like on a day-to-day basis, what is it that keeps you going? Like, because I know that like I can speak for myself sometimes when I may be working on a project and I just don't have the strength. I just, I'm like, oh, it's not working the way I wanted to. Like, what is it that keeps you going? Like, what is the bigger vision that you see that motivates you?
Well, whenever I started to feel like that, I always started to watch people like Malcolm X, like Huey P. Newton, you know what I'm saying? George Jackson, Assata Shakur, Marcus Garvey. I watch a lot of people, a lot of people. So, I always intake their messages and remind myself of their messages. And another thing that I would do is, when these things take place in the world that we're dealing with now, what we're seeing now is between black women being unprotected and kids growing up inside of gangs and being put on the wrong path and seeing all the destruction that's going on within our neighborhoods, this is what makes me say you got to keep going. Like, you have to
Right.
keep going because look what's happening. How are we going to fix that? And that's just been my main motivator. Like, yo, to be able to fix your people and align your people and revolutionize your people and get them on board, understand, like, we all we have here. No government is going to save us. We all we have here. And we have to be on the same page to be able to move forward to help our people. So, just by having that in my psyche, having that in my mindset, that's what just keeps me going. On top of me having an enlightening, conscious mind and the pro-black mind, that's what keeps me at bay. Like, that's what keeps me pushing. Not even at bay, that's what keeps me pushing.
And also I remember seeing you on I think it was Sinetta TV. Was
Yes.
it? I seen you on there, and I seen you with is it a Supernova? Is it Supernova?
Supernova
Yes.
Slumgod.
Right, and I know he's very well respected as well. So to see you sitting there with him, it was just like wow, like I mean, if you're there with him and he's vouching for you, I'm like this brother right here, this brother right here, he's on to something, and you cannot deny, you just can't deny the realness, really,
Right,
that I see when I speak to you, and I see the passion. And I know you were also talking about your brother's clothing line. I think I
right.
saw you sporting some of it. I had different bandanas, right? From
Mhm.
just different sets and stuff, which I thought was amazing. What is the name of that clothing line? If you could just tell us, and I'm gonna write it down so that I can also put that in the description, because I want
Mhm.
the people to support that as well.
When it comes to the bandanas, the blue and the red flag, basically that people see me wear and the flags that I have, that's made by one of my brothers that's in LA, and he basically contributes to the movement. And so he has an Instagram page called South Central United. So he the one that makes that. And then when it came down to the bandana jacket that I had, it was a young woman, a black woman that sat there and made this jacket for me. And I was just happening to find her on Facebook. As a matter of fact, I forgot her Facebook, but I was able to find her on Facebook, and I was able to contact her and get that jacket made before I was able to do the next several events that I was going to do. So, but we still got a couple of things in the works. We still got things coming up, as far as hoodies and jeans and stuff like that. We got a lot of stuff coming up, so people could stay tuned for that definitely. And as far as Supanova Slumgod go, he's a pioneer behind this. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a work that he's been doing. He's been out here since the 90s making this thing,
Mm-hmm.
doing this thing, going to colleges, talking to students inside the colleges, being on the streets, doing the groundwork. He's been there, you know what I'm saying? So, it means
Mm-hmm.
we've been chopping it up for a nice long time, way before, I even started to get myself involved into this. I remember I came across Supanova Slumgod when I was basically looking at one of his music videos. And I was like, yo, who was this blood nigga just, walking
In the
around New
train
York
station,
City,
right?
already always red flags, and who was that?
Yep.
Like, and they're like, he's
Yep.
from Brooklyn, and I was like, Brooklyn, like, nah, I gotta
Yep.
get in contact with him. Like, as I started to look him up more, so I got in contact with him, and we started talking, conversing.
Mm-hmm.
As we met, like, you could tell, like, how certified it was, like, how authentic the authenticity to the environment, and the conversation, and the passion behind, how we feel
Mm-hmm.
about bringing the unison to everything. Like we always say, like, this is the blood of our ancestors from. So, no work is being done greatly without the power of our ancestors, So
That's
we
right.
always keep them inside of our minds, and always keep them inside of our spirits and our guides when we doing what we doing, because it's them that empowers us. We always want their name to basically, remain alive.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And as we're speaking, my partner here, he's just putting up screenshots and stuff of
Mm-hmm.
just everything that you've been doing. So all of this will go into the interview as well. I also went to you did tell me about some of the upcoming events and things like that you have coming up. But I do want to know, has COVID kind of like I don't want to say ceased, but has it kind of like put kind of like a curveball into what it is that you've been trying to do? And if so, how have you been working around that? Has it made the task a little more difficult to get out there and reach others?
Well, COVID, it kind of like, I'm not gonna say it stopped things. It just kind of slowed things down. It kind of put things at a dent. But what I do is I maneuver around COVID, because at the end of the day, my organization, I don't get funded by government. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I do with the help of other nonprofits, or what comes out of my pocket. And it's the reason why I have it that way. I don't want to do things when it comes to dealing with the U.S. government, because especially when it comes to situations like this, when it involves gang members and bringing out our brothers and sisters together for the community, because they will tend to try to direct your mission a certain way, or they'll try to infiltrate your mission. They'll do anything they can to paint you to be the negative light. So I stay away from dealing with the government when it comes to these kind of issues. And then, as far as how COVID is going, it's like I don't really believe the whole COVID situation. I feel like the COVID situation is more about stripping people of their humanity, constitutional rights, stripping people of able to conduct
There you
businesses.
go, brother.
Small businesses is closing so much,
Yep.
and the only ones that's basically bringing in millions and trillions of dollars a day is the big corporations like Amazon and
Yep.
Microsoft and Google and stuff like that. So I'm really like anti-vaccination and anti-COVID all across
Yep.
the board.
Me
And
too.
I don't allow that to, deter me from my mission. I still go out there and have my speeches. I still go out there, do my events, do my rallies, go to rallies. I still do food drives like I just did last week for Thanksgiving. I still do those things. Like nothing's gonna stop me from making those things happen. So I say fuck COVID.
You know what? I totally agree with you. I think that, like I said, I think that what you're doing is just a wonderful thing. And I wish that it was more attention, brought to men like you and just movements like this. But it's a mission, and it's a plan behind all of this, and it's to keep us distracted from what's really going on, and not too many of us see that. Like I had just wrote a long post that I actually didn't even post it yet, but I just was basically just discussing how people don't really see that what they're asking for in terms of, and I don't really like to get into politics, but even when it comes to like Biden and things like that, we're about to go on mandatory lockdown all over again. We're about to be shut down. The mask and stuff is about to be, mandated. You're going to have to wear your mask and things as such. And what people don't realize is that these are little tactics that's being done to break us down, to get to the point where we don't even have a mind of our own anymore, until we're really being controlled by the elite, by the higher, the higher above. You know what I'm saying? Even when it comes to, and I just had to just say this, I posted my whole Trump mask, things like that. And the sad thing is that I couldn't, get people to understand where I was coming from, and I didn't understand where they were coming from. But when you walk out the door, whether or not you want to believe it, we are seeing eye to eye, and that's when we have that mask on, because that's the only thing that you're seeing when you see me is my eye. So the only thing that we are in agreement with and in compliance with is the fact that we're seeing eye to eye, but it's not because we want to, it's because of what they are forcing us to do. We are being forced to live what they believe is right for us. So we're seeing eye to eye, but not in an intellectual way, a spiritual way, in a way where it's, peace between, us. It's because this is what we're being told we need to do. So that's the only way they're going to get us to see eye to eye. And that might be I might be thinking about it too much. I might be going too deep into it, but really that we're literally seeing eye to eye like that. That's the only way. And it's by being controlled.
I wouldn't say that you're going in too deep into it, because it goes back to what you said earlier. People need to know, people need to be more aware, and people need to be careful about what they ask for, because when you get what you ask for, the next thing you know, you'll be upset about what you're asking for. And people feel like because they walk around with unks, or they burn sage, or they wear African culture rooted clothing and stuff like that, that makes them so woke or so aware or so conscious. And my thing is, the only thing to be aware is to be aware of your surroundings and be aware of what's going on. Everybody's conscious at the end of the day, because everybody's alive that wakes up daily, you know what I'm saying? But just mentally dead. So, I always tell people, you got to be careful about the things that you basically invite yourself to, and what you intake when it comes to information, and what you allow to, fill your mind and fill your brain. Because people want to go on diets to, make themselves healthy and stuff like that, but they don't diet the information that's in their mind. They don't decide to say, I got to unlearn these things to relearn new things. You know what I'm saying? People want to stay stuck in their own ways. And it's like, it becomes a blind leading the blind situation. So although I'm very familiar and informed when it comes to politics, what I always do, I always stay away from it. But at the same time, this is something that I have when it comes to the Big United organization, where we have PE. Not physical education. Well, physical education is there, but that goes under training and weaponry and stuff like that. When I call PE, I mean political education, because a lot of our people are not politically educated. So some people don't understand what a communist is. Some people don't understand what a Marxist is. They don't understand what a far right is, or what a far left is, or what is a left, what is a right wing. Like a lot of these things, or fascism, or just classism. A lot of people don't understand these different terms. So not physical education, excuse me, political education is something that's basically implemented when it comes to being united, because the youth learn political education through the school system, and they get thrown off track already through the American school system. So it's up to us to basically be the ones to be able to decipher the truth from the lies and deliver it in the most purest and most truthfulest form possible.
And I also want to say this too before I close out too. I noticed that, and it's not to throw, shots at the sisters, but I do kind of feel like women who have their hair wrapped up and, who's wearing like the African clothing and things like that. I think that when people reach a certain level, they feel like they have more knowledge and are able to speak more on, I guess, if they want to believe they're African or whatever, or if they call themselves a part of the conscious community, but that their words are more valuable to a person, opposed to a person like me who chooses to remain groomed. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like it's the head wrap or the, untaming. He's saying is that it seems like to me that because of the media, and I don't even want to say media, but because of what we've been told, I don't believe in the whole "we come from Africa" thing. That's my own personal belief. But I feel like once a sister puts on a head wrap and once she wears once she puts on like a head wrap or whatever, that makes her more intellectual and more knowledgeable in certain areas. And I don't feel like I don't think that that's fair. I don't have chemicals in my hair and stuff like that, but as soon as I start speaking on a level of knowing, of what's going on and showing that I am woke, I get less respect because I'm told that I want to have a Caucasian look, which is not the case at all. I just like to be groomed. I like to take care of myself. So is that?
Because now I'm gonna cut you off, but you know what it is? Because like people feel that when they get into information, they are now obligated to speak about the information and do so much when it comes to what they came into awareness of, what they came into enlightening of, you know what I'm saying? Because information will do that. Information will make you feel like you have an obligation now. It's like when you take a bite of that conscious cookie now, all of a sudden you want to be able to tell everybody what it is that you know. So, when it comes to the whole appearance and the whole head wraps and stuff like that, I tell people all the time, listen, our biggest criminals wear suits. And they do all the most criminalist things inside of suits, but you will walk right past them because they have a suit on. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So by you thinking that you wear head wraps and dashikis and stuff like that, it doesn't make you any more, peaceful, or doesn't make you any more, joyful or anything of that nature. It doesn't make you any more of those things. It just means that, this is what you're putting on today, and this is who you deciding to be. This is why I say it's like the land of facades. Look at the pastors now. You got the pastors taking money from the community. You got the Protestants and stuff raping little boys and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And they all doing that under their religious form. So this is the land of facades, and it's like the only thing you want to do, you want to keep everybody in a purest form to themselves, which means being yourself. That's why we have Stay United. Be you, be yourself. Because it's like when a person sits there and say, because you speak educated, because you speak intellectually, you trying to talk white. Right. And it's like, that's a disrespect to me, because it's like, you basically saying that I can't have the same intellectual or a superior intellect because of the fact that if I do to you, I'm a white man all of a sudden, or I'm a black man that's trying to be white, or I'm a Negro king, I'm a Sambo, or I become a cool, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that has to do with people ignorance, level of ignorance, and people misinformation and not understanding and not wanting to unwire their mindsets and what's been going on in their minds, to rewire their mindsets with, where they're going and who they can become. And it's like I said earlier, you don't have to fight because you pick up a book and you read the ISIS papers by Dr. Francis Press Wilson, or you went and got you some crystals, or you went and got you some sage or a meditation mat. You don't have to feel like because you're doing those things, now all of a sudden you have to subscribe so much to what's been back there. The purpose of being aware is to know where you came from, know your ancestors, but it's about where you're going. And
That's
we in
right.
New York City. You're not gonna see me walking around New York City with a whole dashiki on, sandals, and all this other stuff when it's wintertime and it's cold outside. You're not even gonna see me doing that in the summer. We in
Right.
two different climate zones. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like I understood what went on and what took place there at that time, but this is where I'm at. This is where I am here, and this is what's going on now. So it's okay for me
Right.
to know the information and apply the information as such when it comes to my life, yes. But at the same time, that doesn't mean I have to subscribe myself all the way down to the clothing and the appearance and things of that nature because of the fact that, like I said, it's not an obligation. And people feel like, again, when they run into information, it becomes an obligation when it's not. You can be pro-black in the mind and still, be who you are. Because that's the most
Exactly.
important thing. For you to be who you are. Your ancestors will always want you to be who you are,
Right.
So I feel like that's what that's more about. And
Exactly.
one thing for the record, because I know when it came to the politics thing, going back on the politics, a lot of people keep saying, oh, your ancestors died for you to vote. And I say bullshit. Our ancestors didn't die for us to vote. That was something that was known as a privilege. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yep.
before voting even came into play, they was dying for their freedom. They was
That's
dying
right.
to be free. They was dying to get away from enslavement and being whipped and being mutilated, being tortured, being lynched. They was dying for those purposes, trying to get away from those purposes before a damn voting and anything came about. So when you want to tell people that don't vote or people that's against voting or people that just feel like, I don't want to vote this year, don't go into a conversation trying to tell them that we need to vote because you have a hatred for a person and you want that person out of the office so much, and then try to basically tell them that your ancestors died for your right to vote, and that's not true because they died for freedom. They died for wanting to escape from slavery. That's what they died from. When our ancestors got enslaved, it was never we enslaving you and you're gonna die for the right to having to vote for your life. That's not how that went. They
Right.
enslaved us. They brought us over here to America. They wanted us to build up this country and serve on this plantation. And we died escaping from that, trying to escape from that, revolting. We did all those things escaping from that. That's what our ancestors did. So I always feel like it's a huge disrespect when people say, oh, they died for us to vote. And I feel like that's just solely disrespectful because at the end of the day, a lot of people out here say that as people that's looking for systematic changes, people that's looking to try to change the system by being a part of the system. And you're never going to change a system that was never designed for you in the first place. You're never going to change a system that was implemented to oppress you. And like, it's very, very important. It's a very, very pivotal. It's a very, very primary thing that, we all get on the same page. We all get on the same accord and we all, do what we can to help another out and, make sure we all stay alive and make sure we protect our women and make sure we protect our youth.
Just telling everybody what they should, what you believe would be a good, idea in terms of wanting to pursue their goals and how we can help you with just, promoting and just being part of the community in this mission.
I would just say, for the young members that's out there, to, the youth that's out there, don't think that being in the gang is cool because being in the gang is not something to be taken as to be cool. It's a very serious thing. And, when you make those choices to be a part of that, you make choices to change your life. And it's not for the better.
Come here, amigo.
I wouldn't have to do what I'm doing now if it was for the better. So it's not something that's going to be for the better. I would encourage to join sports clubs, chess clubs, basically something that's productive. If I'm saying, I would basically encourage the youth to get themselves involved in things that's productive, that's going to bring them back positive energy, that's going to basically help them excel in their daily basis of living and their future livelihood. When it comes to the community and the people that's out there that's watching, I just want to say, first of all, I'm honored to be on this platform, be able to speak to y'all and let y'all know what's going on because a lot of people don't, think that this stuff takes place or not aware of this stuff happening. So I would like to thank the Queen for allowing me to be on this platform to be able to explain.
I appreciate you, King. I appreciate you.
So, as far as how y'all can help, I can always just say, if you know any local gang members or any local youth, troubled youth, just do what you can to talk to them or try to get them on the right track. When you see me post information, you can always share information. I don't never require to ask for donations. I always just get the work done, you know what I'm saying? So I just would rather everybody just continue to spread the word and continue to promote peace and positivity amongst each other. Everything that's going on when it comes to our people, we have to be on front lines when it comes to our people in unison and doing things that we can do to heal our people. the amount of black women that's missing, the amount of black children that's missing, the whole sex trafficking thing and the pedophilia ring. So much is going on that we have to basically tackle and dismantle. But before we can start changing those things, we got to start changing ourselves. Right? We have to reinvent ourselves first in order for us to fix and reinvent those situations to basically not exceed, and not exist. So anybody that's out there watching, my name is Aminra Farrah. You can always find me on IG. That's AMINRA_Farrah, FARRAH. And it's the same thing for my Facebook. My Facebook is Aminra Farrah as well. That's AMINRA_FARRAH. So those are my two social media platforms. You can always reach out to me. I will always answer. I will always be available. If you want me to be able to come state to state and talk with you guys and talk with your community or talk with any local gang members, I'm proud to do that as well too. I have no problem going there as well too. So, you know, yeah, that's a pretty interesting picture that was put up there too. That red and blue flag lynching picture. That's a pretty
yeah. You know, that's actually that's my my partner. He's actually the one that's directing this. Shout out to Gudnewz. He's really good with all of this wonderful stuff. So I do give him mad respect and a lot of credit for all of this. He's very creative. I really appreciate what he's doing. Also, you know, you and I spoke in the past before this whole COVID thing happened. We wanted to do like a barbecue for the community. Remember we spoke about that, doing something in the park, and then, you know, COVID, and then just, I guess, just life just took its course. You know, things just happened. But that's something that I definitely want to do in the future. We could talk, you know, offline about that, because I have a lot of, wonderful, great ideas too. And I mean, anything that I can do to help, because I do really, really respect you, and I respect the mission, and I see the vision. And I definitely want for others to be aware of what's going on. And most importantly, that you really brought it back to the true definition of being in a gang. It's not to promote violence. That's not what it was initially for. It was to, you know, for unity. And then, you know, we started having these different sets and people beefing, and, you know, it's unfortunate. But I think that with hard work and dedication and the right type of people behind you, I believe that anything is possible.
Right, definitely. I'm absolutely agreeing to it. And shout out to the brother Gudnewz as well too. I see he does a very amazing work. So definitely shout out to him. I'm honored for you to basically screen share my work and help put the word out there, spread the information. So I'm very, very thankful for that, very, very honored for that. And I also wanted to tell you too, next week I will be purchasing your book too, Lust Now, Cry Later. So for everybody that's out there, if you haven't got the book, please do the right thing and go support our queen and go purchase that book. I know that book is filled with inciting details. I was reading up on it, and I was reading, like, you know, the epilage of it, and I was just like, I was flabbergasted by it. I was really, like, you know, excited about it. So I made it one of my mandatory things to basically purchase off my book list, because I keep a book list. So that's one of the first books I'm going to purchase is Lust Now, Cry Later, and I suggest everybody go out there and get that book as well too, because we're comfortable with making, you know, people that don't look like us millionaires for things that's not useful to us or that's not helpful for our minds and psyches. But we won't basically do the same for our people that's contributing to information that can help us in our daily basis. It's like when we talk to our people, it goes in one and out the other. But when somebody that doesn't look like you or of your people basically talk to you, it's like their word is basically written in stone. Their word is the truth, because of the fact that they have a lab coat on, or they have a teacher's outfit on, or whatever the case may be. But the point is, just go out there, support the book, shop the book, you know what I'm saying? Lust Now, Cry Later, and just get in tune, because I'm definitely going to get in tune.
I appreciate that. And I do want to speak with you offline about doing just other things, because I do believe, like I said, you have a very strong message, and I haven't met anyone like you thus far on this, you know, platform in the social media who's actually doing it, and who's just so open to just being real. You know, you know, admitted you're an active gang member, but not in a sense where it's how people envision gang members being. This is for the positive, and that's a message that needs to be shared with people who are not educated about that. You know what I'm saying? So I do want to talk to you offline about doing some other things, and this interview will be posted on all of my social media platforms, and I will definitely send you a copy once we have Gudnewz do his wonderful editing and things as such. We'll tag people, and we're going to spread the word and get it out there, brother.
All right, no problem.
I appreciate you. Stay blessed. You know, you got my number. Text me, hit me up anytime, and we still gonna do that barbecue. As soon as everything settles down, we gonna work together.
All right, no problem.
Take care, and thanks again.
No problem. Can you two take care?
Okay, peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings.
Bye.
Bye-bye.